Question. Mr. Michaels, your thoughts on Transcendental Meditation. Should I do it and practice with it, or is it fake, and is there anything better? Or just stick to regular meditating, where I usually sit down and try to get into stillness, do some breath work throughout, and come to silence. Okay, so as I've explained in some other videos, my first spiritual movement that I found was the Transcendental Meditation movement, which I found when I was 18, which was back in, 1976. It's the previous millennium. I'm that old. I benefited from the meditation, as I've explained, and I think it's a valid enough form of meditation. But it is, of course, only one among several forms of meditation. When I first found the movement, the TM movement was very keen on presenting that it was almost presented like this was the only way to meditate. It was at least the only right way to meditate, and it was a superior form of meditation. It was better than all others. But what I've come to realize later is that it's just a form of mantra meditation. And mantra meditation means that you have a sound or word that doesn't have meaning. And you repeat that mentally, and because it doesn't have a meaning, it doesn't so easily cause your normal thoughts to create all these associations. And, you know, that was the idea of TM. The TM, of course, claimed they had some very special mantras, but I've later come to think that they aren't really that special. You could just as well use the word Om as a mantra. But of course, the TM movement had a certain way of explaining in the meditation that it should be effortless. And you should just let the mantra take your consciousness into a more relaxed state. And if you became aware that you had been thinking, you just return to the mantra. And I think that's a valid enough process. You know, instead of, trying to force the mind into silence, you're just focusing on the mantra. When you become aware of your thought, you go back to the mantra. So for some people that could be helpful, and if you need the support system of having an organization that talks about it, maybe it can help some people. I don't even honestly know what a TM movement is at today. But I think that if, as the questioner says, if you have already experimented with other forms of meditation, I'm not sure you would necessarily benefit from Transcendental Meditation. But again, how do I know what works for you? So if you feel intuitively moved to do it, just go ahead and do it and see where it takes you. You don't have to marry the TM movement, and think that this is necessarily the highest form of spirituality. You can take it gradually and see what it does for you. But in terms of meditation, as I've said before, I have a video where I talk about would I recommend meditation for someone new to the spiritual path. I think all meditation is best practiced in connection with doing these decrees where you invoke spiritual protection from the Ascended Masters, especially Archangel Michael, and also for the Elohim Astrea to cut you free from any ties to lower forces. And of course, violet flame is also valuable to transform the energies that otherwise can make it difficult for you to meditate because they pull on your attention. So I think by combining the decrees and meditation, you get better results. And I think that's often missing in these kind of movements that are focused on meditation. And it's basically something you see in many spiritual movements, that there is this wonderful saying in America, if the only tool you have is a hammer, you see every problem as a nail. So if the only spiritual practice you have is meditation, you think that every problem can be solved by meditation. And in my second spiritual movement, where they were focused on decrees, they thought every problem can be solved through decrees. And as I've tried to explain in all my videos, that's really not the case. You need to take a multi-pronged approach. You do a spiritual practice, you study spiritual teachings, you also use tools for healing psychology, including therapy, whatever you need individually. So, I don't know, did I cover everything in the question here? Or just stick to regular meditating? Well, if you have a certain form of meditation that works for you, practice that. But as I said, try and combine it with invoking spiritual light and see if that doesn't improve your meditation.